I don't like that at all.
All right, now your audio is live.
Hello, world.
Ooh, gross.
Hello.
I think I need
Gross.
more light.
I don't know what's going on with my lighting. Why is it so bright in here?
My lighting is bright because of this ring light I have.
I'm beautiful and perfectly
I'm trying to
lit.
tune it down.
But I might be a little bit drunk because Dale's looking kind of fuzzy.
Yep. It's just the way that Dale rolls.
Yeah, not sure why it's freaking out, but whatever.
It's your aura.
Whatever. Whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Oh, wait. You know what else I need to do is plug this into Discord.
Oh,
Just
no.
let our Discord people know.
Oh, no. What have I done?
You know what? I'm gonna let Discord people know too.
I'm
Not like that Discord, like a different Discord.
Yep. You've been moonlighting us.
It's true. I do. Oh, but it's weird because I have to like do it on my computer because I can't do it on here because it's like recording it. It's real strange.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't make any damn sense.
It does. If I did Discord here, it would the video of us would go away, and it would just be.
Oh, yes. Cause all sorts.
You could also open it in a browser window.
That's what I've done.
Nice.
I'm just trying to get my lighting right, and I'm not liking it, man. I'm not. Let's try this setting.
All right. They've been notified.
Oh, great. Look at the thumbnail. I look like I'm super tired, which I am. Okay. Are we all ready? Are we all recording? Is this
believe
happening?
It is. Oh, it's happening right before your eyes.
Oh, I've been recording this whole time. Oh, I've got all the dirt on y'all.
Oh, yeah. All.
At least from your own perspective, right?
I mean, on the screen, there's a little bit of dirt like on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's it's just oil from your hands. That's all.
Hey, Dale finally resolved.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, look at that. It was those baby blues.
It's a September miracle.
Got to calibrate on something.
Right.
All right, let's clap and get this thing rolling. Ready?
Energy
Let's do
up.
it.
1, 2, 3.
Jeremy, 621.
I didn't hear anyone
All
clap,
right.
but I think something happened.
Should have heard mine.
I agree.
I didn't hear
Yeah.
anybody. It's okay. Doesn't matter.
it did
As
kinda
long
like
as it
do
did
that.
its thing, it doesn't really matter.
That's right.
Yeah, mine doesn't even do that. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Maybe you have what's it called? Like normalizing, where it cuts off the extreme.
Maybe I'm auto-tuning this whole thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, my microphone has built-in like no clip. IDD no clip.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeremy, now you've obligated me to talk about Blood Bowl 2 because you put it in the tweet or in
Yeah.
the Discord thing.
What have you
Ew.
done?
You're into it now.
What
I
have you
can't
done?
swerve at the last moment.
Can't back it out.
I left mine a mystery. Question mark. Hey, you ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game Bytes Show podcast. It's Monday. It's Labor Day, guys. September the 6th, 2021. Labor Day. Here we are recording because you know what? That's what we do on North American holidays is we talk about video games on podcasts.
We labor for
That's
you.
right. My name is LeGrand Jolly. This evening, my co-hosts are, we're all here. Normal staff here. Jeremy Lamont. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, half staff, actually.
Dale Jones.
I didn't need to know that.
Jeremy's always at half staff. Dale Jones. Hello, Dale.
Hi.
and of course Jared Dunn.
So
for all of our Texas listeners,
y'all,
they're all big fans.
So
apparently,
listen.
Jared.
Here, y'all want to learn. Y'all want to learn you something now. Listen up. It's funny. I like talk like that. And my wife's like, "That's not how you talk." I'm like, "But I can."
You're
you're
allowed.
If it's at half mast, the mast is on a ship. Half staff is a flag on land.
That's interesting. Did you know
flag staff and a flag mast?
Here's a little bit of video game trivia that also works in real life. You know how in God of War, Kratos is always pushing around those cranky things that go around in a circle to like lift up gates and like move blocks and stuff.
Yeah, those
the
are
name for that thing. Yeah, the name for that thing is called a capstan. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so if you ever want to know, you don't have to call it the cranky thing. Call it a capstan. Impress.
I didn't want to know, but I'm glad I do.
Friends.
That's what they're called on guitars as well.
I think there's a different name if it's a vertical one though. Like if it's on a horizontal surface, it's a capstan. I'm pretty sure if it's, I don't know, it could be wrong.
Conan's Wheel of Pain.
Ooh, got him.
Is that what it is?
You know what's so funny? I was thinking about Conan just recently, like flesh is stronger. But did you ever see that? I used to share it on social media about once every year. The Conan dance remix that had Thulsa Doom played by James Earl Jones, and it would like remix like, "Boy, I created you. Flesh is stronger than steel. Flesh is stronger." You know, and it's like this whole. It's like awesome.
Remix.
Sounds great.
Exactly.
Sounds like that's the intro song that we're using.
Sounds like the thing that Jeremy would super be into.
I love it. And you know, my favorite part, let me just tell you, is in Conan the Destroyer when they like nail him to the tree of woe or whatever. And then that vulture comes. You remember the vulture? And it's coming to get him because it thinks he's dead, but then he like bites it and like bites it onto the ground. He like bites it down and bites it off of him and throws it on the ground with his mouth. My favorite
that was
part
cool.
Let's see. How big of a Conan? How big of a Conan stan are you? What's the land?
He capstans Conan.
What's the country?
Hyboria. Listen,
Samaria.
Okay.
Samaria.
Yeah. So Hyboria is the name of the world. Samaria is where Conan is from.
Yeah.
And actually, I was invited at one point to a local convention to talk about fantasy writers and world building, and I actually picked Robert E. Howard.
Cool.
And talked all about it. Yeah. Did you know that he actually invented Hyboria before Tolkien created, sort of finished creating his Middle Earth?
Yeah.
It actually predates it. Yeah.
I knew that because Robert E. Howard is a contemporary of H.P. Lovecraft.
And they were actually not only contemporary, but they were actually correspondents a lot.
Yeah.
And both probably kind of super racist. But
Tolkien came a couple decades later, probably.
The problem Tolkien had is he wrote his stuff for like 40 years. Like he was writing it forever.
Yeah, like when he was in World War One.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yep. Anyway.
Like me.
Yeah, me too. Same.
Video games.
Same.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. I can't remember how we got into that. Have you really?
I have a tie-in to writing and video games if you want to hear it.
Yes, I do.
Okay. I love it. I love Age of Conan though. Just by the way, that game was amazing.
Banter over. Segue to games we've been playing. Ultima Online Outlands, which had an expansion. I forget where my camera is.
I get booed too, Jared. It's only fair that
you're in boo
well.
territory now, like sixth week in a row. Boo.
And I boop him. Boop.
I've been booped.
No. So UL Outlands had an expansion come out. Kind of crazy for a free shard. Entire new landmass, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of cool new stuff, new skills, etc. But the more important thing worth noting is the Knights Guild has upgraded their tiny little keep to a giant castle. And it was awesome. Nice. But part of that upgrade is my blacksmith is going to open a shop. And for everything that I sell, you're going to buy it in a bundle. And it's going to come with a description of that item, like a book. You know how in Ultima, you can like write your own books. Mm-hmm. So I went out and bought, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ewerk Oakshot. He's the guy that like invented like way like 100 years ago, this like classification of weapons, of like medieval weapons. So that's
like Jane's.
Yeah,
except for medieval weapons.
So I got like, knights in his castle, and there's one about armor. I don't know
what the nerd is going on over there.
So I'm gonna write this stuff. Like, if you buy like a longsword, you're gonna like learn all about a longsword.
That's pretty cool.
So that's my writing story.
shop at
I'm gonna-
your.
And I'm going to create a compendium of arms by Dushar Alehammer, my blacksmith.
So
Wow.
I have a question about the keep that they've added.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How's the portcullis?
Does
The
it use a
portcullis-
capstan?
No capstan, no portcullis. In
Lame.
fact, it has kind of a weak point. You know, a lot of castles, when they build them, are designed to be sieged from like certain directions, and so that's kind of a weak point in one of the four walls. So we are putting up extra towers around that. So
Just in case somebody decides
that's
to roll
not a
up.
mechanic in the game. We're just having fun with it. But
Right.
yeah, no, I've actually spent
you know,
like an entire week decorating it, and it looks awesome.
Jared, I feel like that's not a mechanic in the game, but we're just having fun with it. Is like the thesis for your entire.
That is
endeavor
Ultima.
there.
In fact, that is the definition of Ultima Online. Is like there are no mechanics in the game. You just
Nice.
like make it up as you go.
Nice.
But yeah, so I played a little bit of that, quite a bit of that, but it's pretty good. That's not what I want to talk about though. I want to talk about No Man's Sky had yet another update.
No
a
Man's
big
Sky.
one.
They added
Frontiers.
Steam trading cards.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, finally that can play
Yes.
it.
Yes. And like like the weird like Steam points you can buy like emojis with and stuff.
Oh, I can't get enough of Steam emojis. Let me tell you.
Mars Mole.
You know, I'm
Um,
still I know Mars Mole is like one I've used. I haven't had any new Steam emojis for like 10 years.
You just
Yeah,
need
you have.
once you have Mars Mole, what do you need? Well,
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
just get them. You just keep getting those. They
yeah,
just,
they're pointless.
I don't think I have. I really don't think I have.
I have some. I don't know where I
Anyway.
got
I
them
have one
from.
that's like from Alien Hominid or something. It's weird.
No
great.
Man's
I bought the Hunt
Sky
Showdown ones.
Frontiers adds like bustling towns to the game, which have never been there, right? Like it's always been like there's a space station with a few guys on it.
Bustling towns.
It's got like 10 guys in it.
That's
10
bustling.
buildings. It's like a
mean-
1-to-1 building to guy ratio.
In your real life town, if you see 10 people walking down the street, like that's pretty.
It's
that's a
bustling,
populated
dude. You're like,
day.
wait, whoa, is there like a fire or something?
We've just been
Like,
upgraded to by
or-
like we've moved the needle over to orange. It's now a bustling town.
bustling. Hey, so here's the thing: is these little settlements you find are, I think they're always on like really hazardous planets, right? Like really cold ones or hot ones or poisonous or blah blah blah. So they're like, think of it like a colony. You're like trying to colonize this like really hostile environment, and so it's pretty neat because you go in and you like do upgrades and you got to gather resources and keep the peace, so to speak, and you'll get like do this or this kind of missions. It's really cool. It's really cool addition. Tons of new upgrades. Some of the watch out for people doing insane designs for houses and bases. I know they've done it in the past, but now they've added even more. And some of the stuff I've seen coming out is like, whoa.
You know what's funny? Even when I played recently, I was still making like wooden boxes with like 4 walls and a roof. That's about as far as I ever got into the crazy design of settlements in No Man's Sky.
Yeah. So really, again, that game is just. I keep going back to it. It's like one of my absolute go back tos forever type games now. I don't know that I'll ever kind of stop going back to it. Like I don't know.
I was
point.
thinking of
me and my feeling with Elite, right?
Elite, yeah. You just
and
go
I love
back to it and
Elite.
do something. You
I
pick
love
something.
Elite
You do.
because it's never ever bustling. There's no bustle.
It's not bustling. The game's not bustling. Don't worry. One thing I haven't tried yet is I have a Oculus. Well, it's actually sitting right behind me. I don't know. You can see it. Oculus Quest.
Oh yeah, right
2.
next to the broadsword.
Right. And No Man's Sky supports VR, so at some point I'm gonna plug that in and check it out. See how we can.
Pretty
get
all
on.
right. On the PlayStation, it's credible. It's a decent, decent
Yeah.
implementation.
So I'm not a huge. I'm like I don't know VR man, but we'll give it a go at some point. But pretty excited about that. The other game I just want to mention, we'll probably talk about it here a little bit later in new releases. That's how current I am and hip. Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous, which is if I don't know if you remember or if anyone played Pathfinder Kingmaker, came out like 4 years ago or something.
That's the like Baldur's Gate style RPG, right?
It is very similar. Like its rule set is like D&D 3.5. If you think of that. So yeah, so like Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter, those style games, but you know, it's all isometric, looks great. But this
Well,
one
Pathfinder
is,
was a spin-off of D&D, right?
yeah, I think so. During the 3.5
it's like an
era.
actual pen and paper RPG.
Yeah. It's like a tabletop game, and they've been making a few video games. And I kickstarted it like a million years ago, and now it just came out, and it's pretty cool so far. One thing that's a little weird is the class I picked is a cavalier, and the cavaliers thing is they they ride horses. They're like knights on horses. And so, like, I'll be like in a dungeon and going upstairs and stuff, or like riding a horse. It's kind of weird looking.
It's pretty cool.
You know what? If you're going to be a cavalier, you might as well like go all the way in. Like,
you might as well
I'm a
be cavalier about it.
Yeah, exactly.
What
There
I
you go.
thought, because I was like, man, I better just do this. But I already have decided I have to delete my character and start over because I didn't know enough about the rules. Basically, I picked a class that's like gets these like bonuses to like using shields, and then I specialized in a weapon that's two-handed. I was like, oh man. I mean, because you don't know. There's like 50 weapons or something in that game. So
well, you know, the Diablo 3 shield character, they let the Crusader, they let them wield two-handed weapons with one hand. So, I mean, that's a pretty good fix for that problem.
That's pretty good. There is in Assassin's Creed, this isn't what I've been playing, but it's kind of interesting. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there's shields and one-handed weapons and two-handed weapons, but there is a perk if you like spec your character in a certain way, you can equip a two-handed weapon with one hand and use a shield or like an offhand weapon. But what's really interesting about that is it has a totally different like move set, right? So it's like you're much slower, but it's like these big swipes. It's really cool. It's really neat the way they did that.
That's a classic perk. I love it when you can single-handedly wield a two-handed weapon.
Right. Just whatever, man. Just like two great
It should do
swords,
the
why
opposite.
not?
Instead of letting you like hit really big and slow, you should hit like really limp because you just can't quite get the
fast, like a spear, like a one-handed spear. It's just like jabs.
Yeah. It should do the opposite of what everybody thinks it does.
I've always felt that it's per weapon, right? Like if you take a large like Zweihander or a large two-handed like great sword, those really aren't going to work very well one-handed because of the way that they're weighted. But like a long spear, like a 6 to 7 foot spear, you could do one-handed. It's just you fight differently with a shield. So I've always been real particular about that. But anyway, whatever.
That's what I always say. You fight differently.
Knight and his weapons. It talks all about spears in here. It's like one of the most prolific weapons in the world, man. Like
you just get a stick and poke somebody with it, like it's
all the way up.
Been around forever.
Yeah, literally. Every culture has developed a spear. It's great.
Have you seen that meme that's like, I'm not gonna go home and form a full 255 man, Phoenician phalanx tonight, and then the next part is like 2 hours later, and it's like a picture of that.
Phalanx. No, I haven't seen that, but I'm googling it.
Sounds pretty good.
Anyway, that's what I've been playing. So a little mix of space and magic and castles.
Is that the Ultimate Outlines?
Yeah. I've been building a castle. Maybe I'll post some pictures in Discord. You guys will be impressed.
Oh, I thought you said assholes. Did you say Outlands or assholes?
Outlands.
Oh, I thought you said a little bit of space, a little bit of fantasy, and a little bit of assholes.
Oh, no, that would be this podcast.
Perfect. Got it.
Sorry for Jeremy. He has to do all that bleeping.
No, that's okay. I leave that.
No, he's not going to bleep any of it. It's okay.
Oh, we're not a family-friendly show anymore. That's too bad.
We definitely are.
There you go, Jared.
You can put that on the YouTube so people can see it.
I can't look at it. I got to pull up web page now.
Yeah, don't do that.
I promise I won't form a perfect 256 man Macedonian phalanx tonight.
What if he did?
3 drinks later.
That doesn't even make sense.
It's pretty good. All right, Jeremy, what's up with you, man?
Hey, I've been playing something new and long prophesied, and I've been kind of late to the party on this. This came out a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't play
super
it
late by Gameboy show standards.
A little bit, but the thing is that my daughter, my younger daughter, had started to play the original Psychonauts, and she really liked a lot of the things about it. She liked the campers in the original game and that sort of thing. So when Psychonauts 2 came out, I said, well, do you want me to go ahead and play this? Because I was traveling and I had my phone and my Xbox controller. I talked about it last week. But she said, no, I kind of want to be there with you to, kind of play through it together. So I said, absolutely. So I have not been playing until this week Psychonauts 2, which is 20 years, in the, I mean, maybe not 20, but a long time since the first Psychonauts came out. I want to say 2004, 2005, something like that. PlayStation 2, the first game came out.
That's a really long time ago.
And even this game was crowdfunded in 2015, I want to say. So this one has had 6 years of development. Double Fine was picked up by Microsoft. And finally, now this week, it's here. It's on Xbox Game Pass.
Isn't this on Fig? It was on Fig,
they did it on Fig, so presumably somebody is going to be making money on this. Although I don't know how that worked with Game Pass.
I think they paid out the people who had bought in it when Microsoft got it because it was going to be released on Game Pass. Because usually Fig pays you out depending on how well the game does.
Yeah, on actual sales.
Only if you invest.
Yeah. Right, if you did a tier where there was some buy-in to it.
It's like $500 a share, and then they pay you back that if it reaches a certain threshold, and then you make more or whatever.
So,
I actually almost bought a couple shares of Psychonauts 2.
I
So
almost
you
did
have a
too.
vested
On
interest in
Fig.
promoting this
Can I
game?
give you
I was
guys
going to.
my hot take?
Okay, what's the hot take?
I didn't like Psychonauts.
Jared likes bad things only.
I'm going to give you another
let's
hot
take
take.
that in.
I
Okay.
also didn't care for the first
Legrand
Psychonauts.
also
Nor did
famously. Dale
tried
also
a few hours.
bad things.
You know another one I didn't like? What it? Oh no, I've just blanked.
You
on
guys
the
are
name.
my favorite.
What
Brutal
is
Legend.
the one where it's like you're the girl and you're like you're like a photographer?
Oh, Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't like that either.
Yeah, I like Beyond Good and Evil. So you probably then won't like Psychonauts 2 because it
I
is
probably
very much, in fact, even like the way it feels, like the controls and the jumping and the platforming.
Is it floaty and crappy like the other one?
No, actually, that game was never floaty. It was just a little bit like the collision detection was a little weird, like the camera control and kind of the, but it feels a little bit like that. It feels like a nice looking sort of PlayStation 2-ish.
Why
platformer.
Why do they have to do that?
It's like the worst era of games.
Why don't they just
too.
make a
There's
new
like,
game? Like, why is it like we need to make this like the first one when the first
Well,
one was a PlayStation
people
2 game?
wanted
Make
it, though.
better.
That's-
It's fine,
why.
and I'll tell you, it's not distracting, but you just notice it sometimes. You're like, well, I thought I made that jump, but maybe not a little bit. So the platforming is probably
That's why I don't play games like this. I mean, make it better.
That is
That's
not
all.
that is not the primary focus really of this game. So I don't think that it's anything like that in and of itself. You would be looking to get angry about that if
Does
that
it live up
bothered
to
you as
the
much.
humor and
Yes. So the
vibe
writing,
of the first one?
yeah. So the game is presumably an adventure game, kind of wrapped up in a semi-platformy kind of thing. I mean, there is platforming, especially in the action levels, but the time is sort of equally divided between those sorts of levels where Psychonauts famously, you enter into the mind of various troubled characters. And their psyche is sort of manifest in different, board games, or in this case, you've got like food preparation game shows, or kind of like whatever that sort of represents the mental troubled state of particular characters. There's also sort of mystery and intrigue involved, a lot of humor, a lot of really fun interactions between Rasputin and the various characters. In this game, where before he was in a psychic summer camp, and at the end of the game he was awarded, you are now a psychonaut. Well, it turns out the kind of the mentally stirred up sort of hero of the Psychonauts was not really in a position of authority to make Raz an official Psychonaut, so they decided to make him an intern. So in this game, you sort of trade the camp style scenario for the Psychonauts headquarters, where you are now an intern and you are attached to various agents or various characters inside the organization as you kind of make your way up the ladder, as well as kind of determining where this mystery is sort of unfolding, where there may be some trouble from inside the organization. A big evil, like the main bad guy from the last game, is sort of figured to be over the course of this game and the Rhombus of Ruin, which was the PSVR exclusive.
Did you play that?
I did play it a little bit, yeah, and it was all right. It was pretty good. And some of the story elements from that carry over into this, where I guess Dr. Lobato, who's sort of like the amateur dentist / brain surgeon character, he turns out to be a lackey for someone else, and there's this whole thing about almost in sort of a Harry Potter Voldemort sort of way, where it's like, oh, this evil psychic person is maybe coming back somehow. That's kind of what's going on here. So I get some sort of Ministry of Magic sort of a la psychic powers kind of thing going on here. And it actually works out really well. So to Dale's question about the writing, yes, I think the story is really good. The character interactions are very true to the original. The voices are just as if, and maybe this goes without saying, but all of the voice acting is just dead on, the same kinds of characters. This game takes place like a couple of days after the canonical ending of the previous game. So it's not like, they're adults now or anything like that. Like it's a couple of days later and now they're in it in this new setting. And it's all really, really well
more
done.
than one
And
ending to that first game?
no, not really. It's just that in the
It's
continuity,
like
I
an
guess I should have
adventure
said
game, right?
it is. So
Pretty
to
linear. Yeah.
kind of to Legrand's point and to Dale's point, the platforming is not the main focus of this. There are platforming areas, which are usually the psychic excursions into people's minds, but most of it is on the kind of the classic adventure formula of go here and do this, talk to this person, have fun interactions, maybe do some side quests.
So a Double Fine game.
Yeah, it is. So Double Fine has, and this is the same with Brutal Legend. It's the same with a lot of things they do. There's sort of this broadly adventure genre thing going on, but it's wrapped up into, in this case, like an action platformer type thing. As far as the system of psychic powers, they've done a thing where you don't necessarily do the Metroid thing where it's like, oh, you lose all your powers at the beginning. Over the course of what you would maybe consider to be the tutorial stage, you sort of remember and put to use most of the main powers that you had from the last game. And then as the game progresses, you get more new stuff. And I don't know, it's probably not spoilery. I don't know. Do people time bubbles and like little point-to-point mental teleportation kinds of things and other things? So they've done a really good job, I think, adding new powers, new psychic abilities to this. Enemies also are a little bit more developed. In the last game, it was mostly however you could attack, just hit them for the right number of hit points and they would die. Here, they've introduced new kinds of characters. Some might be vulnerable to fire. Some might be vulnerable to ranged psychic blast attacks. So there's a little bit of a puzzle as some incentive to kind of use different psychic powers to do combat. Powers can now be upgraded a little bit more than you really could in the first game. There's a rudimentary kind of leveling system for your basic powers, and then there's a badge system. So they still kind of stick with in the previous game, the camp badge, merit badge system. They've kind of gone to a badges type upgrades kind of system for this as well, where you can get like little secondary abilities and passive powers and things like that. It's really, really credibly well done as far as just kind of adding new levels of things from the previous game. Generally speaking, really excellent. It very much feels like it is a continuation of the first game. A lot of the way it feels. And even the one thing I kind of wish they had done, though, was I kind of wish there had been more continuity of characters. Like I mentioned, my daughter really liked a couple of the campers in particular from the previous game, but now you have a whole new set of characters like this intern cohort that Raz is part of. And they're fun, and all the characters are sort of reasonably fleshed out, and they're fun. But you kind of wanted to see more callbacks. The game is full of actual callbacks, though, to the previous game, but I kind of would like to see maybe some of the characters maybe continue over. The other thing that strikes me, kind of the last thing maybe I'll say about Psychonauts, is that it interestingly has sort of decided to take the concept of this psychic ability thing a little more seriously. There's actually a disclaimer at the beginning about how the game kind of represents various stages of mental health. You have people who have expressed things like anxiety or gambling addiction or things like that. There's even a little bit of dialogue in the game about, this is some serious business, and, there's a level of trust that Psychonauts have to sort of live up to be messing around in people's minds. And Raz, that's really kind of what he does, is he sort of helps people sort of sort out their problems by dealing with a lot of visual metaphors. I mean, there's things like emotional baggage, which are the bags that you kind of find throughout the levels. There's figments of imagination, still a lot of collectibles. Everything is sort of a metaphor for kind of what's going on mentally in people's minds in the game. And just generally speaking, it seems like it really came off as a cohesively conceived game, and I think they've done a really good job with it. Like I said, again, some of the feel of kind of the running around, camera control, even the platforming and jumping still sort of feels maybe appropriately like the previous game, but I don't think the problem is floatiness or anything like that. I think it's just kind of determining where you are in space. I mean, I don't think it's more of a problem than any given 3D platformer you've really got, but it just does kind of have a little bit of the engine or something about it just kind of feels a little bit like the previous game, whether it was in its original incarnation or the remasters that have been on PC or even Xbox One most recently. So Psychonauts 2, it's on Game Pass, $0 in addition to your regular subscription. Really good, especially if it's been something you've been waiting for. Load it up. It did have a day one patch of 29 gigabytes or something, so even after I preloaded it, I had to download the whole thing again. That
That's
was
the
kind of
size of the
downer.
game. I looked at it.
Yes, exactly. And like that's one of the things PlayStation does this sometimes, Xbox does it sometimes where it's like, oh, we got a title update for you, re-download the whole thing. So it's
Yeah.
so another win for streaming, which you can, I'm assuming, play this on xbox.com/play. I was playing this again for the benefit of my kids who were kind of watching as I played along with, so I did bite the bullet and download it. But generally speaking, no regrets. Really well followed through on by Double Fine. Glad Microsoft has picked it up because now I can play it as part of my Game Pass subscription, and I suggest that you do the same. Psychonauts 2.
All right. Okay, Dale, what's up with you, man?
Well, I don't really have anything new today, but I do have a story. I'm not sure.
Lay it on us. Lay it on us.
It's a story of something that happened.
The floor is
So
yours.
so this week is the kickoff of the 4th season, in which I've taken place in a Blitz Bowl 2 league run by a local game club in Portland, and they do like actual tabletop games and stuff. We just happen to have a Blitz Bowl 2, the PC game league. And in fact, you can even play it. It's like cross-play, so I think if you have a 360, you can still be in the league and stuff too.
Hey, real quick, do you mean Blitz Bowl or Blood Bowl?
Sorry, Blood Bowl. Blitz Bowl
Blood
is actually there's a separate game called Blitz Bowl that is related, but yeah, no, it's Blood
Isn't that
Bowl
an
is-
arcade football game?
No, that is actually Blitz, the league or whatever. That's like a totally separate thing.
NFL Blitz.
NFL Blitz is, yeah, that's related to that. Sorry, yeah, Jeremy, you're right. It's Blood Bowl 2. This is the actual game that the PC game that we play. And actually Blood Bowl 3 is coming out, I think, next month.
Wow.
But I wonder if so I wonder if this season of the league might be the last one to use Blood Bowl 2. Not sure. We'll see how the third game is received, I guess. But anyway, so this is I think 6th season overall. This is the 4th season that I've been a part of the league.
And a season
And-
is that a year or like a
No, it's
quarter?
they probably do 2 a year. No, actually, when did I start? I started after all the like pandemic working from home stuff. So I guess it's been probably a little over a year now since I started, and this is the 4th season. So maybe it's actually like a calendar season. But anyway, yeah, I've been playing a Chaos team this entire time, and so the teams of Chaos are made up of Beastmen. They're like your like goat man style dude, and then
Minotaurs, that kind of stuff.
yeah, the Minotaur is your big guy. You get one. Each team has one big guy, and for the Chaos team, it's a big Minotaur. And then we have also on the line our sort of linemen are the Chaos Warriors, which are like the big human dudes with like heavy armor and stuff.
Medieval chaos space marines.
Yeah, basically they're the Warhammer fantasy. Everything in Blood Bowl is like. It's like the neighboring universe to Warhammer Fantasy. It's like, what if all those races and characters decided instead of having big wars, they would just settle everything by this, like, warped version of American football, where people get killed and stuff. And that is exactly what happened to my team this past week.
Oh no.
I was matched. Okay, here's the thing. In the first season, there's 2 divisions each time we have this league. And in the first season, I was put into the lower division because I was a new player, new team. I didn't have players with skills and XP and stuff. And I actually performed really well, such that for every season thence, I have been in the upper league, and I've just been getting smashed left and right. Like,
Man.
it's been bad. It's been bad up until this point, and this game was just the absolute like the zenith of how bad it can get. The nadir. Because
Zenith
score?
of badness.
yeah, I was matched up against another more experienced and I will say probably better built, if not better coached, Chaos team. that just completely dismantled mine. And of course, dice. Dice rolling is a large part of this game. So I do, there is some room for me to blame the dice rolls.
Absolutely, totally
But
with dice rolls.
oh yeah, yeah. But the way that you want to build a chaos team is such that it can reliably injure or kill players on the opposing team, because the less men they have on the field, the easier it is for you to get the ball and score, right? And that's how you win as a chaos team. And that's exactly what his team did to mine. They just pummeled, like by turn 6. And a game of Blitz Bowl is made up of 2 halves. It's a game of 2 halves. Each half is 8 turns per side. And by his 6th turn, so not even to the first half yet, 3 of my players out of 11, 3 of my players were dead, and probably another 4 or 5 were injured at that point. And then by the end of the game, 10 out of 11 of my players were 3 of them that were dead, 7 of them were injured. The last guy that I had on the field, because you can play your side of the game. You can only have, if you have one guy on the field, you got one guy on the field, and you got to do what you can with one guy on the field.
Wow.
The last guy I had was my Minotaur.
Good guy to have.
Just probably coincidentally, because he's a big, tough guy, he's a little bit harder to lay out than the Beastmen or the Chaos Warriors. And so, yeah, needless to say, I lost that game. And about half of my team or more than half of my team is out of commission for the next game, because 3 of them are just straight up dead. A further 4 of them have sustained injuries that will, at the very least, keep them out of the next game. And most of them will then have like a penalty going forward, like they lose a point of their armor value, or they lose a point of agility, whatever. So basically what this has done is, right off the bat, it's made this season, it's turned it in from, like a even footing, hopeful sort of thing to it's like,
Now
this
it's
is going to be, this is
a
one of those,
rebuilding year.
yeah, exactly. This is a rebuilding year is what this is going to be. So I'm going to start my next game with I think probably 6 of my guys returning, and then the CPU or the game will spot you, rookies, with no skills, just to fill in the rest of the 11. And then if they perform well, you have the option at the end of that first game to like hire them on. But I probably won't even have enough funds in my team value, like the petty cash, to hire more than one of them. And in fact, I lost one of my Chaos Warriors, was killed. So you have 4 Chaos Warriors on the team. That's your
Not
max, right?
Jim.
One of my Chaos Warriors was killed, and I didn't have the money to hire a new one. I only had enough money to hire one more Beastman to replace one of them that got killed. So yeah, this is going to be a major rebuilding year. I'm going to hope to just basically, what I'm going to do, my game plan for going into the rest of the games this season is not even going to be to score at all, but just to like injure and cause people pain, because that is how I get the star player points that I need for my guys to level up and get new skills, and then for them then to go on and like win money and to be able to rebuild the team. So yeah, so in conclusion, Blood Bowl is a cruel, brutal game, and I can't recommend it, but at the same time,
You know
it's
what?
really fun.
I'm glad you have a healthy attitude about it, though.
Speaking of cruel games, you know what I've done this year? I mean, LeGrand's a coach. Dale's like murdering his team members. I joined fantasy football.
What?
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Listen.
the best part. Okay, the best part. Are you guys ready? I don't think you're ready. You're not ready.
All right.
I joined a fantasy football team full of a bunch of Germans that I met in UA Outlands.
That's weird.
Wait, like soccer? Fantasy soccer?
Yeah, he doesn't even know what sport this is.
American football.
Really? Huh,
I
okay.
actually went to my dad, and he might have cried a little. I was like, Dad, I'm doing fantasy football this year. And he was like,
Son, I thought you'd never come around.
I've waited 37 years for this.
I tell you what, though, come back when it's Final Fantasy football. And
Oh, imagine how good Blood Bowl Fantasy, Final Fantasy,
It'd be
Outlast
Yeah.
Final
Football.
Fantasy Blitzball.
Blood
there
Bowl.
you- oh no, I'm out.
expansion,
Back
Final
out.
Fantasy.
Blitzball, no. Nope, I'm out.
Dodgeball. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, sports.
Legrand, how about you? You've been keeping us in suspense.
Oh, it's been a secret. So I needed something. I wanted to play something different.
Gross.
And I had a bunch of stuff installed. I fired up Death Stranding
Oh wow.
for the
okay.
first time
How's
on
that?
PC.
Just in time for there to be the director's cut in a few months.
I don't give a shit.
In like 8
Only on
years.
PS5 though, maybe.
I don't know. I'm playing on PC. I have it on PC. It's ultra wide on my monitor. It looks fantastic. I don't really care. I mean, I don't care. I have played 7.5 hours of this game. And
Okay.
man, I am having a good old time playing Death Stranding. And I didn't know what to think about it because you hear a lot of positive, you hear a lot of negative, you hear mostly negative. And I think that you, Jeremy, played a little bit of this, right?
I did, yeah. I talked about it on the show. Yep.
Yeah. But I've been having a good old time playing this game, and I can't really tell you why.
Why? Yes.
There's something about getting an order to carry some stuff and the puzzle that is getting from point A to point B. The
And
game
keeping
looks
it
beautiful.
intact.
The music
Yeah.
is rad. It feels cool. And the whole
What's the plot,
concept,
Legrand? What's going on in this game?
I have no idea. But the whole concept of the multiplayer aspect they have makes it feel like you're not playing the game alone, even though you are. And there's something there that makes this game cool and feels special somehow. And I don't know really
I
why.
feel like the design document for this, like the only person who could do this would have been Hideo Kojima, because anybody else who was like, okay, here's the idea. You're going to walk in this game. You're going to get some, like, going to bring a ladder. You're going to walk over that mountain.
Backpack? Is it gonna be
Yeah,
heavy?
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's not
you're
all
gonna
there
fi-
is to it. I mean, there's other stuff. There's stealth
But I mean,
sequences.
but
There's
what
a
I'm
little bit
saying,
of
though-
minor combat.
Right. But I'm
But-
saying
Right.
just like the lion's share of this is like inexplicably mundane. It's like you're just going to traverse over this map with some stuff. That's what
But
you're
it's
going to do.
it's more than just, and maybe it's exactly what I needed.
What about like the phantom demon monsters or whatever?
the Death Stranding?
Yeah, that too. Like you have to sneak past some dudes. and
cover
it's
your
like,
mouth.
This is a danger area. And then eventually, Legrand, have you been like consumed by the thing where the oil dudes like start coming?
Oh yeah,
out
when they
at you? You got
catch
to-
you?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
no fun at all.
Yeah, and that's
That's
and, like,
terrifying.
and that's all in between like these cutscenes where things
And
are
there's
going on. and people-
whales
yeah,
coming
no,
out of
there's
the
like,
oil.
crabs that are upside down, and like when rain hits you, it's like what's
The
going on?
time fall
Isn't
is
it
like
timing?
cool as hell. Like the whole I don't know. That there's a it's I don't know, but I can't stop playing it. I haven't fired up Final Fantasy 14 since I started playing this game.
Whoa! Death
Whoa.
Stranding knocked out FF14. Wow.
Well, for now.
Hmm.
Oh,
I'm still on that game.
now.
But I'm telling you, like, it feels it's a very well put together game. That's the thing, is this is not just there's plenty of those games on like Steam that are like, hey, you're doing you're working and you're
Yeah. simulator.
packagedelivery.com or truck driver simulator. There's plenty of crappy games, and I'm not gonna say crappy. There's plenty of games like this, right? This game feels like a very high concept AAA one of those, and the control, as you would expect from Hideo Kojima, is spot on. The storytelling is just as whack, and
This is the highest produced indie game of all time.
yeah, there's something that
True.
feels cool about it. And I will mention that the whole multiplayer stuff where you're dropping, where if you follow the pathways that other
Right.
people
There's
have followed,
bridges and
road, and the pathway gets treaded more, so you can traverse it easier, and people can drop ladders and hang down ropes, and people can build bridges and drop power generators for your motorcycles and all sorts of weird things. It feels good, man. It's like, oh, I found this equipment, and I'm not going to deliver it because I'm not going back that way, but I'm going to leave it in this post box so somebody else can pick it up. And but I am headed to this there's like little post boxes that you can build in the world or find in the world, and you can, if you find some cargo, some lost cargo in the world, you can drop it off at one of these places, and someone else can come along to that same post office box and get the cargo that you left there and take it somewhere else. So there's this like asynchronous multiplayer component that's happening that I don't know if I've ever experienced anything quite like it. And it feels like you're in most of the game, you're running around solo to the point where you actually don't even interface with other people. You're seeing their holograms in like all the cutscenes, especially aside from the very, very beginning of
Like
the game.
Conan O'Brien, right? Or like, is
Yeah,
there not Jeff Keighley in there?
I haven't come across those guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, whenever you go to like an outpost and somebody will appear in a hologram and start talking to you, and then they'll disappear. So you never like actually come face to face with other people. Like you're basically in this world alone. But there's something about the way that you can engage with these little things that people are leaving around the world, or pick up gear that this person had dropped and take it to its destination when you're on the way to that destination to begin with. That feels kind of cool. It feels different, and it feels unique, I suppose, is a good way to describe this game. It's unlike anything I've ever played, with Kojima storytelling behind the whole thing, which is, what you would expect from that.
Yeah, it's
really
out there.
weird.
Sounds pretty cool.
It is. It's really. I think that you would actually really like it, Dale. It's especially
I
if
need
you
to
like
check
the
it out.
Kojima storytelling. Like the gameplay, actually. I mean, there's a couple parts where there's like these bad guys called the mules, and their job is they want to steal your cargo. So if you go through a mule area like that they control, they will like spot you, and they're always trying to get your cargo away from you. But there's a couple of missions where they actually send you into these zones to like steal shit back from them and retrieve like stolen cargo that they've stolen from someone else. And the gameplay around that is actually pretty fun. You're stealthing around. There's tall grass to crouch in. And when you do get spotted, like the melee combat, while very, very basic and rudimentary, is actually pretty satisfying. You can like pick up like a piece of cargo off the ground, like a little briefcase, and then smash dudes in the head with it, and that feels really cool. And
But
the
you're
combat
also
is
you're
so
also
few and far
fragile,
between.
though.
Yeah, and the combat is so few and far between that when you do get into it, it feels meaningful and unique.
And it's usually like a
cool.
lot of risk reward too, because it's like, okay, how much of this can I steal before somebody notices me? And if they do
Right.
notice me, I'm going to be way loaded down, and maybe I've got to escape over this cliff edge. And oh my gosh, I do have a rope that I can get down there with, but oh no, I just
Yeah.
lost my there. And then you got to be like, am I going to go back and get that thing when they're they think I'm gone? Maybe I'll just sneak back in case that's my high value one or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I don't even want to mention the story because it's incomprehensible, but it's it's cool. It seems like this game takes place like millions of years in the future. Like it's and they even reference like some sort of a time, and I don't know, it just feels like so far detached from our reality that it's
I've got kind of a deep cut for that. It's a little bit like Final Fantasy 13, like the later series, where it's like the end times, and there's only like a remnant of humanity left, and they depend on delivery people. And so the whole economy is based on, like, even the mules, like they're called that because they want to carry stuff around. Like they want to set up
Right.
like some sort of like delivery system monopoly where
Well, they talk
are the
about it
ones
because
to do-
they say that, hey, back in the day, all this delivery stuff used to happen by robots
Drones
and they kind of mentioned like the way that kind of detached humanity away from actually interacting with everybody, because everyone could just relied on
It's like
there was no physical interaction with anybody.
It's like a Wall-E level, like, kind of story.
Kinda.
And I really like when things do that, because it's like you feel like we were joking earlier about Alexa, turn off the lights. And it's like, what happens in like 100 years when you don't know how to turn off the lights because you can't get Alexa to do it? You know what I mean?
Then
like,
you get Norman Reedus to come to your house, and he'll do it, along with the
it's such
upside down
a-
crabs and whales.
Well, Jared,
well-
you've heard that expression that like technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic, right?
Yeah,
It's the same thing when you've forgotten how technology works. as
You
a
don't know how
society,
to like
right?
survive with, like, honestly, our society's built around that, right? Like, I don't know how to like hunt and grow food, and like I just go to the grocery store. Like,
Jared,
that's how it's
this
built.
is how you get the
If it goes away, I'm doomed.
this is how you get the Adeptus Mechanicus in 40K. It's like
That's right,
they are
'cause
the
they don't trust AI.
they don't know how technology works. They think they have to pray to it to
They
make it work.
worship it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
Well,
really
very good.
interesting. Strange game.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Death Stranding is a strange game, but
Very
there's
strange game.
something about it there where at this moment in time, it's the right time for this game for some dumb reason. And maybe it was always the right time. I don't necessarily know, but I was basically choosing between this and The Last of Us 2. And that game just still seems too depressing for me to invest in right now. Not that Death Stranding is any less depressing, but I chose Death Stranding. I'm having a good old time playing it. So it's like I'm up cooking dinner. I'm like, hey, I got to put this stuff in the oven for 30 minutes. I wonder if I can make a delivery in 30 minutes. And I'll run downstairs, fire up the PC, make a delivery, get back to my food. Like it's I don't know. It's cool. It's fun and unique and weird. And
oh no.
I don't know. I can't wait until I can get motorcycles more consistently. That's
Yeah,
what
they're adding more stuff, so look forward to that.
Anyway. Yep.
Very nice.
There you go.
Well done.
New releases. I guess
Well,
I
there's a
can
whole
do these.
rest of the podcast to talk
Somebody else
about.
want to do these? Yeah, we have
Yeah,
more
that's right.
podcasting to do.
That's
we
weird.
do.
I put these on the list here. We get these from tech-gaming.com. Sonic Colors Ultimate. New Sonic game, guys. This is like a 3D Sonic.
Colors
Which is
was pretty well
fine.
received, I think.
I don't
People
think
like
it is.
Colors.
I think it's bad.
Oh. Yeah, but you
No,
like
I
bad
don't know.
stuff. I think we established that everybody on this show, other than me, has bad
Wait,
taste.
I did
what
read
if
some
I
reports
create
from,
a
like,
Sonic
glitches.
character in Ultima Online Outlands?
Boo.
Anyway, that's out. So play a Sonic game if you want to. Or if this was on Game Pass, I'd totally check it out. If it's not, I'm not going to buy it.
Serious question about Sonic. Are there new games coming out? Or are these all just like redone games from the past?
Sonic is weird because when they find a good game, like you kind of have to stick with it because so many of them are bad.
I don't pay attention to Sonic, man.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
either. But there have been
Neither do
good
I.
Are-
Jeremy
are
only
there-
pays attention to the Sonic movies.
Are there new
Sonic,
Sonic,
yeah.
games coming out? Or are these all like remakes and like
I mean, the last big one was Sonic Mania, and it was a brand new thing
like a
based on kind of
2D.
old. Yeah.
when
yeah.
did
So-
that come out?
So the answer is, I mean, it's a
Like
while
a
ago.
week,
It was-
a year ago, 2 years ago.
I want to say it was like 3. I bet it was 2 or 3 years ago.
It came out onto the
2017.
Switch, so the Switch
Yeah.
isn't that old yet. is
YouTube
it?
says not YouTube. Wikipedia says
Internet.
2017, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay, because you don't want to, like, Sonic is the last thing you want to oversaturate with. We've learned our lesson there.
I don't think we
Yes.
want any more. I don't know. All this Sonic stuff comes out, and I don't know. Is it any of it new?
It's
Is
not
it-
for you. That's the answer.
I get it because I can't deal with cartoon hedgehogs kissing girls.
That's fine. It's not
That's
for you.
the best part of it, though. Okay, anyway.
Surgeon Simulator 2 is out. This is the follow-up to the hit Surgeon Simulator. It's also on Game Pass. Pick that up. Surviving Mars Below and Beyond. I bring this up. This is DLC for Surviving Mars, which is a really cool game.
Yeah.
And this is like takes you into mining and digging underground.
Subterranean.
And asteroids, actually. So other things like that. Final Fantasy IV. So this is the next pixel perfect remake that they're doing. Final Fantasy IV is out now. The first 3 have already been released.
Okay,
This is the
when
next
I
one.
saw this on here, I thought you were talking about Final Fantasy 14 again. My brain just went there, and I was like,
I could.
"Why is
I
he
could.
talking about
It just
this?
came
I
out
can.
again. No.
Every day is a new day."
And finally, Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous, which we already spoke about briefly.
It's a good game. Go check it out. I don't know if it's a good game. I've only played like an hour.
In our Rad Switch and PCGameTitles.com, we have my favorite title of all time, probably. Funny Farm Animal Jigsaw Puzzle Game for Kids and Toddlers.
You know what? They should have just
.com.
not specified for kids and toddlers. They should have just left it the way it is. Because you know some adults are going to be going after Funny Farm Animal Jigsaw puzzle.
They
don't wanna
probably
be
would have sold
shamed for
more
their
if they
kid
wouldn't have
and
pigeonholed it
toddler
into
taste.
kids and
Why
toddlers.
limit your audience? You know what I mean? Like your
Okay.
demographic could have been way bigger than kids and toddlers. That's only like 4 years.
Also, White Girl. I have no idea.
There's a lot
Pretty
of those.
straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, FIST, which is an acronym for Forged in Shadow Torch.
We need to get rid of acronyms in video games. We need to ban them.
That's a really good acronym too.
You know
That's
what?
terrible.
Pretty
I
good.
really appreciate that it's actually an acronym because an acronym is when there's an abbreviation that is spoken like a word. Otherwise, it's just abbreviationism, which is not as fun.
Do you guys want to go play some FIST?
No,
Fist.
I don't want to
Okay.
play Fist or White Girl. or both.
Let's see.
Everyone.
PlayStation Plus
Family friendly.
games for
.com.
September are Hitman 2. Cool.
No. That's a good
Overcooked!
game.
Exclamation point. This is all you can eat edition, so the full version of everything.
I think it's
and
the first one and the second one actually together. I want to say.
is
it's
that what
like-
it is?
I feel like it is.
Oh yeah, that includes content from Overcooked and Overcooked 2. Wow. And also Predator Hunting Grounds, which I think I might actually check out. Like I'm all about. I'll play.
I mean, you
I'll
just
play
did
it.
Aliens. Now you can do some Predator.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's right. Game Pass for September. They added Final Fantasy 13 recently. That's on there now. Surgeon Simulator, which I mentioned. Nuclear Throne, which I actually kind of want to check out. And they also have Red Dead Online is going to be leaving this month, so get that on, as well as games like
What is that?
4.
What is with all these like?
You know what's
game-
weird about this is Forza Motorsport 7 is also leaving in September.
And that's a first party one. That's weird.
right. That's why I thought that was kind of weird.
Really?
Also, Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales is also leaving. So
Which isn't that like free?
No,
Isn't that
no.
isn't that free?
Thronebreaker
Game?
is always been
no.
a
You're thinking of
premium
Gwent.
game.
Oh, all right.
That's right.
Thronebreakers
on
is like an
the-
adventure game with Gwent in it.
Oh,
Let's see.
yeah.
Epic Game Store is going to have a game called Sheltered for free coming up next, so pick that up. I mean, go get the ones that are on there now, which I think I just grabbed like yesterday. But anyway, make the habit of whenever you listen to this podcast just to check.
Just go check it out. Yep.
It's once a week, right?
Yep.
Also,
yeah.
Judge Dredd is coming to Call of Duty because why not? Also, Will Smith, the Bad Boys version of Will Smith, is also in Fortnite as well. We talked about No Man's Sky.
Listen,
update.
I'm not. I'm out of Fortnite until they get Martin Lawrence in there. If they get Martin in, I'm in.
Okay.
Will Smith, no.
But they can't have
Uh,
them both at the same time. That's the problem.
That's
It's
right.
the same person.
No.
No Man's Sky added a bunch of stuff, so go check out that.
Hey,
update
that game's really good. I
Jared
played it
talked
this
about.
week. We talked about
That's
it.
true.
Go play it.
He did.
Probably
Jared's
okay.
on the cutting edge.
Probably okay. And Overwatch added a new map from Italy. So new Overwatch map, guys, for everyone who's still playing Overwatch.
But it
Italy
doesn't
very
have-
problematic.
It doesn't
They're
have the
taking it
cowboy
back
guy in it.
Yeah.
No,
I
he's
heard
just called
Italy's going to
Cowboy
get the
Guy.
boot.
Oh.
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
all that stuff for today.
All right, very good. For news, things have been going on this week, and one of the top ones that is generating a lot of buzz around the internet, partly because people have some skin in the game for this, and it affects people financially, is that Sony decided that their official process for this kind of cross-generational game thing, which I feel like we've dealt with before, but never quite as front and center in past generations. So when a game was released late enough in, say, the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era, there were a few games that would have cross-generational, here's the Ultimate Edition that comes out on the PS4, etc. Well, now we've got the PS4 and Xbox One going over to Xbox Series X. I almost forgot what the console was called, and the PlayStation 5. And it's been handled with varying degrees of, let's call it, elegance. Xbox has basically done this delivery, what do they call it? Auto delivery, delivery on demand thing?
Smart delivery.
Whatever it is. Smart delivery, that's right. Where if you have the previous generation version of a game, once the new generation version comes out, you basically are essentially bequeathed that and you get it. Sony has kind of had a little bit of trouble with this. And not only Sony, but Sony in particular this past week when they said that Horizon Forbidden West, which was going to come out on kind of both of those. Originally, there was no upgrade path between those two. They were just separate software titles. Well, Sony said this week, hey, there will be an upgrade path, and it'll cost you $10 extra to do it. And it's already a $70 some odd
really?
game. Yes. So Jim Ryan basically said on the PlayStation blog so originally they were going to do that, but they've now walked that back is kind of the news item here because everybody decried it. They said, hey, Microsoft is doing this. What is the problem over there at Sony? So Jim Ryan basically posted an update on the PlayStation blog saying, whoops, actually, we have heard you and
They believe in generations at Sony.
yeah, that's actually been a thing that they've kind of talked about. I guess the problem is when you have a game that is both generations, and we've talked about this on this show, if it comes out on both generations, essentially you have a last generation
Especially if it
game.
comes out simultaneously.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a last
It's
generation
one thing
game.
if you release it for PlayStation 4 and then 2 years down the road, PS5 comes out, and so you do some work on it
Well,
and re-release it.
What about Cyberpunk 2077?
So Cyberpunk also has had this problem where
No, they already said that they were going to give everyone free updates to the PS5 version. when it
Well,
came
so
out.
the other big one that made news on this also was Control from Remedy. There was that whole thing with the Ultimate Edition of Control where they said kind of the same thing, and I think it was like you were basically just going to have to buy the Ultimate Edition. There was no program for that, and they
But
have
Control
also
came
said,
out like a year before the PlayStation 5 came out. Like it's
yeah, I agree, but it was also
I
a thing
think
that
that
was known.
there's some sort of a thing when you're actually re-releasing a game for a new console. But if I'm releasing it like Horizon and I'm releasing it day and date on both consoles simultaneously, and oh, by the way, right now you can't just go buy a PlayStation 5, but you really want to play the new Horizon game, so you buy it on PlayStation 4. Next month, oh, PlayStation 5s are in stock. I'm gonna go buy a PlayStation 5, and suddenly, like, I can't play that game
You
on
got to
my
pay
PlayStation 5.
again. Yeah.
Sounds pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. So
Well,
like,
and I guess
It
let
does.
me be sort of helpful on one point, which is that I believe that you could theoretically play that previous gen version of the game because Sony does have, to their credit, their digital library, you can pop in the disc or whatever, and you can play the PS4 version of the thing. But if you want
that's dumb. It's still dumb.
yeah, right. Well, people have sort of said that if you're going to charge me for this, like at least we have in this capitalist society, your competing platform is giving you this thing. I mean, they're basically providing it with the purchase of that software title.
It's
on
not
its-
even that though. I mean, it's the fact that I would have bought the PS. It's especially. I mean, it'd be a different story if I could just readily go out and buy a PlayStation 5.
Right.
It'd be a different story. If I could just go get one, then cool. Do what you want to do, but the fact that you
Right.
can't do that, and I know that that may not be completely Sony's fault, but especially if I'm buying it digitally, like, yo, just let me buy the game and play it where you have that game.
Right.
The way that PCs have been doing it for decades, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it that consoles are different, but consoles are
Well,
also becoming more and more like PCs,
They're only
especially
different
now that
because that's
there's
what
so
they
many. Like, it
chose.
used to be that Xbox 360 to Xbox One, there were not as many generation gapping games. Like, there
Right.
wasn't a whole lot, and even less so from like Xbox 360. Like, it was a hard cut, and Xbox 360 or PS3 to PS4. There were a handful of games that were released around the time of launch of PS4 that were on both consoles, and I get that. But now it's like every game
ton
is
of games,
available
yeah.
on both.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then let me just play it where I can play
Yeah.
it. Like, make
Then
it.
consumers sort of look at it as not the generation, but rather as the title. And they say, well, hey, I bought this title. I should be able to play it. I mean, it is weird. There is sort of a, for better or worse. I mean, the updated versions are really cool, and they do have some tech, but ultimately you're sort of repurposing software from not that long ago and selling it again.
Well, it's from the
So,
exact same moment that comes out on both sides.
yeah, there's
This
that
one
too.
is, and it's oh, by the way, it's the exact same code. It's
Yeah.
just this one has some more graphical features turned on
Yeah.
and enabled, right?
Yep.
There's
Yep.
no difference,
That's right.
is what I'm saying.
That's right. So
Yeah,
anyhow,
I mean, Xbox got it right because from the very beginning they were basically marketing the hell out of their smart delivery, and you'll get it on both. Well, yeah, if you buy it now, you'll get it on whatever it comes
Yeah,
out on.
That I think is well, and like even Microsoft's approach of like if you buy games, like the same game releases for Windows, it releases for Xbox. Like that was really smart. Now, granted, Sony doesn't have a PC platform. I get it, but that doesn't
or interest at all in the PC.
Well, like you
didn't
said,
stop
though,
them from
they've-
releasing to Windows, but they
Yeah.
did. They don't do it.
well,
they
and
don't-
in some
they don't
ways,
optimize.
we've sort of made fun of Microsoft for having like why would you get the new generation console if you can play and they're even we talked a little bit earlier about the fact that they're going to be doing streaming so that you can stream the next gen version of the game on your previous gen hardware. And in some cases, you could look at that from a traditional standpoint and say, what are you doing? You're devaluing your new console. On the other hand, Microsoft seems to really be digging into this idea that, we are across generational. You can have the old hardware, you can have the new hardware. We're just happy you're playing our games. We're happy to sell you our subscription.
pay off
service.
You
for
know
them
what's
in the end.
interesting though
for
is
sure.
this week alone, as a PC almost exclusive. I have a Switch. I don't really play it a lot. I played a game that I originally played on Windows 95, and I played a game that released this week
Yeah, on the same machine. Yeah.
on the
Or you can-
same machine.
And you can't even call it machine either because it's so. I mean, we talk about things like GeForce Now and whatever.
On the
It's not
same
even the,
quote unquote platform.
yeah,
right?
exactly. Whatever that means.
What's even more interesting about that is when I play like No Man's Sky, I have a instance of Ultima online on like running on my machine, and I load up another game and play it.
Yeah.
Like, granted,
Love PCs.
yeah, like consoles make that distinction because they chose to bring the price down to 400. They made that distinction. They put themselves in a garden, and then when they wanted to expand the garden, they had to just tear everything out and resod, right? Like that's what happened, and it's real weird. It's real weird.
Well, and they are also, I mean, like Legrand had mentioned, or maybe it's, we'll see this in the news. There are also inroads being made from some of these walled garden. You know, even Sony is starting to flirt a little bit more with PC as a platform as well. It's not necessarily that PC itself is necessarily more attractive, but that they are also kind of looking at this idea of emphasizing their hardware platforms to some extent.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
Yeah.
something else that we're going to be looking at in the future. Another news item here that is kind of interesting is China, which is always and perpetually kind of weird and maybe a little bit sinister. Sorry, that's just, I think, the truth. It has issued a sort of, they've ratcheted it up on existing restrictions for online game time for minors. And there have already been restrictions, but China this past week says that people under the age of 18 will only be able to play games online for 3 hours a week. That's 1 hour on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is kind of interesting for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is that it's kind of weird that a government would reach into something that directly. Which on its surface, I think we here in the United States would probably say, whoa, that's,
That's
an
overreach.
overreach.
I think most places around the world would consider that overreach.
Yeah. The second reason that I think it's interesting is that the thing that's being affected primarily are online games. So these are going to be your, mobile games. These are going to be your
That's all they play over there. They ain't playing
kinds of
single
things.
player experiences, I don't think.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting for that reason. And the third reason is that so many of those kinds of games are actually coming out of China that they themselves are sort of they're sort of immunizing or whatever you would call it. They're sort of saying, well, we don't want our people involved in
Tencent's
this.
stock
but-
price just plummeted.
Did it
But-
really? That's interesting.
No, I'm just.
Oh, okay.
So just to be clear, like
Enforceable
it was at 90 minutes, and they're only decreasing it now. So this has already been a thing that's been in place,
Yeah.
for a while.
Right.
And I think that a lot of their reasoning is to help curb especially in those types of games that the Chinese market tends to gravitate towards, which is those gacha style games and
Like they're
a lot of
gambling
predatory
adjacent.
games where it's addictive. And I mean, the way that my kids want to buy Roblox and I have to constantly tell them, or Robux, and I have to constantly tell them no, if there's some sort of something. Reality is that parents should be handling this. And like you say, overreach, yes. Parents should be doing this type of thing on their own and restricting their own kids if they feel like it's detrimental.
You almost have to wonder if it'd drive a opposite behavior. Like a lot of those games, they're like, oh yeah, it can be free if you spend a lot of time, but suddenly you don't have time. Now you want to spend money to progress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like what
Oh, yeah, that's a good
behavior
point.
are you actually trying to
Now I
counter
can't
here?
wait for my energy to come back because I only have an hour to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
That
Like
is
now you're
interesting.
just gonna ching ching ching, pay.
And that could potentially have an impact on the design of games going forward.
Yeah, absolutely it would.
That we
I
would
think.
feel outside of China, even.
The thing though is that this is a tailing thing. Like China hasn't said like, oh, game developers in a year you've got to be ready for this. They're like, oh, this is it now, and you've got to be like changing your.
So I remember in Guild Wars 1, originally released in 2006. I don't remember what year it went to Korea, but it made its way to South Korea, released there. And at the same time, they implemented a feature that you could not opt out of. It tells you every hour to go take a break. Now in the US,
Death Stranding did that to me today.
That's because people were dying in internet cafes because they
Yes,
weren't.
but
getting
it's
out
like
to
it
use
was like I guess at the
I remember
time
that.
I was like, that's weird. It's like it was required that the game tell you to go take a break.
And
Uh,
I thought Guild Wars was a Korean company though. Nexon? No.
ArenaNet.
NCSoft is the publisher, but the developer's ArenaNet. It originally released in the US.
Okay.
It was
Speaking
founded
of
by
things-
ex-Blizzard Diablo guys.
Really? That's interesting.
Like a
Speaking of
million
things
years
that are required, I just kind of want to add on to this as well, that the way that this is being enforced is by using both real name identification. Tencent has launched facial recognition technology that determines who is playing so that parents are not letting kids use their IDs and things like that. And it's actually backed up by police databases. So this is kind of,
Cool.
yeah.
You have to wonder how much.
But,
Like, is it? I don't know.
It definitely strikes me as an overreach with my American sensibilities.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
good.
think
Yeah.
there's, well, you know, when video games are considered spiritual opium by the, you know, the, I guess we'll call it the
They ain't wrong. I
political.
mean, especially with kids. I mean,
It can be, and
For
I
sure.
guess we, you know, and I will say that there are some ways in which the nanny state exists also in the U.S. as well, but this, I think, for our particular circles, definitely stands out. So that was another interesting news item that came out this week. Well, guys, I think those are kind of the big topics that we've got for this week, but we are going to close the show with, as we have done, our news speed run. Start the music. Pew, 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 pew.
I'll start. Naughty
go ahead.
Dog seems to be ramping up its hiring for its first standalone multiplayer game. Have they not done a standalone? They've done multiplayer modes.
They have. So they did. There was an Uncharted 2 had a multiplayer
Yeah.
mode, which actually was really kind of cool.
So The
They
Last
also
of
had
Us.
The Last of Us. Yeah, also
Yeah.
had one. But
I
this is
think
the first
Uncharted
one.
3 also kept up the multiplayer.
It
Not
may
sure.
have. I remember something about Donut Drake being like a fat Nathan Drake skin that you could get in.
Oh, yeah. Remember that.
Nice.
Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch soon, which I am
Oh, yeah.
kind of excited about this, mostly for the Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah,
Most
somehow
Game
I
Boy games are trash.
I missed a lot of
Yep.
Game Boy Advance stuff, so I'm looking forward to see what they curate on this.
Yeah,
Game
and
Boy
it's going to
Advance
be
games are
like,
just Super NES games, which are awesome. So
hopefully they get like the Metroid games on there, which, I mean,
yeah, hopefully with Dread coming out very soon, that would be a nice get.
Yeah.
You know.
Metroid games, there's Zelda games, there's the Mario games, there's
Well,
You know, the other day,
Pokemon
Final Fantasy
games?
Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I
Oh
want it.
yeah, dude, that game.
all right.
that game
You know
looks
Speaking
what?
of,
All of those
Metroid.
games have in common
What's
is
that?
I bet Lance Barr, who was with Nintendo for 39 years, has left the company. I bet he
That's
touched them
interesting.
all.
That's a name that I don't even know, and that guy's been there like almost my whole life.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good luck to him, and
a lot of people
thanks
work
for
at
all the
Nintendo.
thanks for all the fish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the last little Game Boy Advance thing here, the quote unquote first commercial Game Boy Advance game in 13 years has gone live for crowdfunding on Kickstarter and has smashed its targets in less than a day. This is a game for, this is a title called Good Boy Galaxy, which seems to be some sort of dog-based, cute Metroid sort of game. Was asking 18,000 British pounds, and in over, I guess, in 24 hours, garnered about 58,000 pounds as of the time of this recording. I don't know what it is in pounds, but $200,000 it has crossed over that mark.
Are they
So,
sending out like actual carts?
How else would you do it?
I have to assume so because
Yeah.
it's actually, I
I
mean, they
want
show
this.
it playing on the thing.
Yeah.
So there's a Game Boy physical pack. So it'll come in a box with a cartridge and one of those little clear cases that you can
How much
snap
do
it
they
in,
want
and
for it?
instruction manuals, stickers. The tiers are so if you pledge $18 or more, you can get a digital download on the Nintendo Switch. If you get a 35-pound pledge, that's a Nintendo Switch physical version. 44 pounds is the Nintendo Game Boy Advance physical pack.
That's
yeah.
cool.
So kind of cool.
$61 US.
It's a little bit of an ass, plus shipping
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, you're in it for
It's
the
like
catch.
15 bucks shipping or something crazy.
Yeah.
So the new PS5 model could end up running hotter or performing worse, according to a teardown made recently.
Yeah, I
So
saw there
be
was
on the
some
lookout.
pushback on this, but the guy has doubled down on it and says, nope, I'm standing by it. The components that are being used are just going to run hotter, which I would rather not have it do that.
I'm skipping this next one, Jeremy. We talked about this.
Sure.
Brendan, player unknown himself, Green, has left the PUBG studio. He's no longer involved with the game that bears his name.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Is it
Alan
known
Wake remaster shows up on retailer website in advance of an announcement.
I've just recently been playing Alan Wake. I guess this is a good thing.
I guess.
It
beat
actually
it.
holds up as it is. Did you?
Does it hold up?
I think so. Like graphically, I don't feel myself saying, "Ooh, look at these old graphics." I think it's fine.
I think
Gameplay wise,
I think the art style of that game is pretty well done.
yeah, it's a little rough in terms of like mechanics, but it works all right.
With the little light gun, the little light.
Yeah, the light
Whatever.
flashlight, and then you can like you do
You can
flares.
shoot
and
them
things
once
at
you
'em.
light them on light for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Divinity Original Sin 2, this must be a Jared Red Eye Done edition here, has cross-save between Steam and iPad, which is kind of cool. I love seeing cross-play, cross-save, and I think being able to go across those particular... I always want to take games like that just and lay in bed and play them, and I think this is cool to be able to carry that over from one to another.
The game's also on Switch. Is it only between Steam and iPad? Or is it?
The
also
article
on
headline
Switch?
that I found just said Steam and iPad. I don't know why, but
Well, another platform you could play that game on is Windows,
Nice.
of which there will be a new version coming October 5th. Windows
Release
11.
date. That's less than a month from
you guys
now.
gonna upgrade?
Eventually, probably.
It'll probably be a free upgrade, right?
It
Yeah.
seems like people have had good things to say about it, so sure.
I'll upgrade. I like the new shiny. I like new shiny software. Feels good.
Operating all the new shiny bugs that come along with it too.
Oh, come on. Windows is a
Oh.
mature platform
Oh, yeah.
I will
at this point.
No
you know,
bugs.
anything to protect me from the viruses. So
Dude,
I'll
he's
upgrade.
right. What if the viruses like eat our souls?
Oh my gosh, that would be
It's like
terrible.
the Death Stranding.
Ooh, it's like the black muck with whales in it.
Did you ever get to the part where you had the blood bombs that you
Never
could
played
throw
it.
that use your own blood?
I never got blood bombs.
Then you didn't get very far.
Huh? I don't remember blood bombs.
You get
but,
these grenades that siphon blood from yourself because your blood is determined to be able to kill the Death Stranding ghosts. So you get these grenades that are powered by your own blood to fight against
Okay.
the Death Stranding.
Real
ghosts.
talk. Is Death Stranding just that Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie, but
just
video game?
repackaged. Yeah.
You know, it might be. It might come. I might come to find that
I
out.
feel like
Who
they're the
knows?
same.
Who knows? But folks, one thing we do know is that this Game Bytes Show podcast has come to an end. I want to thank you all for being with us today. I want to thank my co-hosts for going through it with us once again, as we do. All for you guys, all for the listeners to keep you updated, informed, entertained, and so on and so forth. If you have any comments about the games that we played this week, if you have any thoughts about any of the news items, if you want to add something that we missed, you can find us on social media. Let us know all about that. If you want to write a book about spears and pointy sticks and things like that, just
It's
check in with Jared.
inverted. Gross. Hey, if you
I'm
have
not
any
design.
really good arms and armor making books, leave in the comments. I'll check them out.
You can do that. You can find us on social media collectively. We are at Game Bytes Show on Twitter. You can also reach out to us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont.
You can find me at Legrand.
I am at Count Elmdor.
I'm at red_I.
Also, if you didn't find us live on YouTube, find us over at youtube.com/GameByteShow, where we will do this show live for you every week. Hit that alarm bell to be notified when we go live, because before you know it, this half-hour podcast is done with. So you got to get on board right as we get started. So join us for that every week. We entreat you. You can comment. We'll talk to you as we do this thing, and you'll be internet famous. I guarantee it. You can also find us at GameByteShow.com. You can find the back catalog of our podcasts, including our prior format twice a week. You can find our syndicated stuff for the new version of the show. And you can also find a link to our Discord server there as well, where you can come and join us any day you want. We are there all the time on Discord to crack wise and share game stuff and play games together and do all of that. Come find us there, and you'll be internet famous with us in our hearts. That's right. That's right. And folks, we will be back next week to do all of this all over again and make sure that we are keeping you up to date along with us. We will be back then. But until then, this has been your Game Bytes Show podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Be seeing you.